20 years ago, Alexa Grasso was a struggling kid trying to make her mark in the big wide world. Now, she's the UFC's undisputed female flyweight world champion and a headline star. So, how did Alexa Grasso go from zero to hero? And what does the future look like for this Mexican star? Well, to answer that question, we've actually got to go all the way back to the 1990s Mexico. Because it was 1993 in Guadalajara that Alexa Grasso was born. Fighting is a very big part of Mexican culture, and as a kid, Grasso was raised around combat sports. Her brother, for instance, was a boxer, and her dad endorsed combat sports in the family. This prompted Grasso to start training in martial arts as a kid. She mainly focused on taekwondo and karate, which she quickly grew to love. In fact, even in her early years, Grasso knew that she wanted to be an MMA fighter. However, as the UFC has shown time and time again, you can't be a strong MMA fighter without solid foundations in grappling, BJJ and boxing. So, when she reached her teenage years, Grasso made the bold move to put down the wooden board and pick up the gi. Joining Mexico's Lobo Gym, she learned a variety of base martial arts like Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and boxing. Grasso had an unbelievable natural talent in virtually every aspect of MMA and quickly transitioned to the amateur ranks, where she steamrolled nearly every opponent she faced. Due to her early success in the amateur ranks, Grasso made the decision to turn pro pretty early on in her career. She signed with an organisation called Invicta, which at the time was one of the leading organisations for women's martial arts. Grasso's high-level grappling, coupled with her good fundamental striking ability, made her an instant hit with the fans, and she ran through most of the competition, going on an early undefeated streak of 9 fights. And thanks to her impressive run at Invicta, Dana finally offered Grasso a contract with the UFC in 2016, which she accepted with open arms. The level of UFC's talent was clearly a step up for Grasso, and she did lose a few times early on in her UFC career. Yet, in spite of these early hiccups, Grasso went on an impressive 4-fight win streak from 2020 to 2022, taking on the best in the division like Kim and Barber. After beating Viviane Araújo by unanimous decision in October 2022, she was finally given a title fight over former champion Valentina Shevchenko. In the pre-fight build-up, virtually no one could separate these two apart. On the one hand, some thought that Grasso's grappling would be too much for Valentina, but on the other end, some people thought that Shevchenko's power would simply overwhelm the Mexican. Well, in the octagon, the 50-50 nature of this fight certainly came to life. In the opening few minutes, it was Shevchenko who was landing the crisper shots and Grasso who was struggling to find her range. However, as the opening round ticked by, Grasso started to time Shevchenko's attacks, landing crisp overhands virtually at will. So in the second round, Shevchenko took the fight to the ground and controlled Grasso for the majority of the round. Shevchenko continued this tactic in the third, and going into those championship rounds, Grasso was very likely down on the judges' scorecards. However, in the fourth round, Grasso upped her aggression and kept pressing Shevchenko on the feet, not giving her a moment to breathe or reset. Toward the end of the round, this aggression forced a mistake from Shevchenko, and she gave up her back, allowing Grasso to pounce and find a beautiful rear naked choke to end the fight. Finally, she was a champion and her dreams had come true. The two did have a rematch the following September, which was ruled a split draw. Many thought that Grasso was very lucky to get a draw because, to be honest, she was dominated most of the fight. And a few people have even theorized that she was only gifted the draw because it was Mexican Independence Day at the time. That is quite the conspiracy. Nevertheless, she still got the belt, and the two have a trilogy fight set for the 14th of September 2024. So it'll be interesting to see if she can put that controversy of the last fight behind her and prove those doubters wrong once and for all. Ultimately, Alexa Grasso is a perfect example of how far determination and discipline can get you. Grasso worked day in, day out on her craft, not just for years, but for decades to achieve her dreams. Her life has been full of uncertainty, but last year, she was finally able to put her hands on that coveted gold strap. And now she's going to get those paydays and the recognition she deserves. Good on you, Grasso.